When did a magical first date go terribly wrong? It was New Year's Eve going into 2022. I rang in the new year lying under a folding table. Supposedly, if you ring in the new year under a table, a new love will find its way into your life. At least, that's what a fellow partygoer and the only other single girl at the party told me. I figured it was worth a shot, since I tried everything up to that point and my single status was going on 8 years well. As I lay face to face with the cookie crumbs and dodged sticky liquor puddles on the floor of my friend's basement, I was seriously starting to doubt her. Nevertheless, I clinked glasses and drank my champagne from my dark table cave. 3 days later, I opened Tinder for the first time in weeks. I had matched with dozens of, seemingly, eligible bachelors over the past year: Hinge, Bumble, Tinder. Hours of texting and video chats and phone calls. I'd been told that I would be prettier if I stopped eating pizza, promised child support if I'd only let him put a baby in me, and told that even though his profile said looking for something serious, that was just what he'd written to get girls to swipe on him. I'd been on a handful of first dates and fewer second dates, and even one nightmare date that ended with me being walked to my car by a friendly bartender to get the guy to stop following me, but that's a story for another day. I had given up on online dating until the New Year's Eve party gave me just a sliver of hope. Silly, I know, but after so many disappointments I was grasping at straws to justify giving it just one more chance. At the top of my list was a guy, let's call him Mike, who in no way matched what I thought I wanted. I was looking for tall, dark features, nice hair, perhaps a beard, and here was a guy, 5 feet 10 inches, bald with a blonde goatee and brown eyes. Not my type. But he'd made a comment about pasta that had me rolling with laughter. I think it was something like, we'd get along if you also stand in front of the open refrigerator at 2 a.m. eating cold spaghetti straight out of the container. I had done that exact thing only a few hours before. It must have been fate. I figured if nothing else, he might be able to make me laugh, so I messaged him. 2 weeks later and we had talked nearly every single day. It felt too easy and so natural. We aligned in all the most important ways: political, religious, social issues, and had eerily similar desires for the future. I had never met another person that I felt such a natural connection with. On our first video chat date, I was cooking dinner and he was floored that I loved to eat broccoli. He also promised to make me spaghetti, the one thing he was decently good at cooking. On our second video chat date, I was bundling cards that my students had made for other teachers in the building and he commented that he thought it was sweet that I was pulling a late night just to make other people smile. It wasn't all sunshine and roses. He was much less financially stable than I was, which scared me. He was a smoker, which normally I'd consider a non-starter red flag. My parents were heavy smokers and there's some negative history there. He owned 2 parakeets. I thought that was weird. But I could never justify breaking off our budding relationship on those things alone. At the end of the day, he made me smile. He made me laugh. He gave me the elusive butterfly feeling whenever my phone would ding. I had to give it a chance. The first time he came over my apartment, I made him watch Grease. We're both fans of musicals and he'd never seen it. Blasphemous, I thought. He was so nervous. He brought me flowers which he thought was dorky, but I thought was adorable. He was rubbing his sweaty hands on his pant legs the entire night. He drank ice water at a rate greater than my poor little Brita could produce it. Halfway through the movie, I had convinced myself that he's lost his interest for one reason or another and felt deflated. Did my breath stink? Did I not look as good as he'd hoped? Was he unimpressed with my apartment? And then, I caught him looking at me. Not just a fleeting glance, but really looking. He was blushing and smiling like a dummy. I said, "What are you looking at?" A little insulted, to which he replied, "You're just something special." I decided this was my moment. I leaned in and kissed him, our first kiss, as Hopelessly Devoted to You played in the background. It's still one of our favorite songs. A couple weeks later, we're back at my apartment again, this time with takeout and board games. Suddenly, sweat breaks out on his forehead and he starts to panic. I can tell he's uncomfortable, but he won't admit to it or tell me why. "Hun, what is going on?" I ask him. "Do you have any Pepto or anything?" He sheepishly whispers. "Ah. I got it. Sure, in the bathroom." He excused himself from the living room and disappeared down the hall. He disappeared for a long while. So long, in fact, that I debated knocking on the door and asking if he was okay. We're still too new for that though. I also had a moment where I thought he might have climbed out of the bathroom window. But we're on the 2nd floor, so that's unlikely. Eventually, he comes out of the bathroom and wordlessly sits on the couch next to me. Without making eye contact, he asks, "Where did you get that shower curtain?" "What?" I laughed. "Your shower curtain, where did you get it?" I stared at him. "I don't know, probably Target? I'm going to buy you a new one." Still no eye contact. "Mike, what the heck happened?" "I messed up your shower curtain." I just about leapt out of my skin. What in the world? Was this a fetish? How does one make a mess upwards? Did I not refill the toilet paper? Why wouldn't he just use a towel or something? I didn't know what else to do, so I just laughed. Too hard for the awkward silence filling the air. You have to tell me what happened. After several minutes of back and forth, the story finally came out. He'd had some stomach issues all day after eating something out of a food cart earlier. When he went to the bathroom, he thought he was finished and went to wipe, but he wasn't. That led to a bit of a mess on his hand, which startled him, causing him to flick his hand in disgust. This sends droplets onto the shower curtain. He tried to clean it up in the sink with the hand soap, but the curtain needed a deep clean in the washer instead. He'd cleaned every other surface just in case, not wanting to leave anything behind, but the curtain had obvious evidence he wasn't going to be able to hide. I laughed so hard I cried. Listen, there's a lot of things in the world that gross me out, but messes aren't really one of them. I insisted I would just change the curtain and throw it in the wash, but he insisted that I don't. Instead, he grabbed a plastic bag from the kitchen, went to the bathroom, changed the curtain to a fresh one, and took the soiled one home with him, where he laundered and sanitized it. Later, he told me that when he told his mom what had happened, she'd said this girl is a saint if she ever agrees to see you again. A year and a half later, he's moved into my apartment. He quit smoking. He convinced me to finally get the dog of my dreams. He's in a much better place financially, and even his parakeets live with us. Turns out, they're not all that bad. And, believe it or not, we still have the shower curtain. Mike says I'm the best $3 he's ever spent on the internet. There's been a lot of moments that could have ended us, shower curtain fiasco included, but I'm glad we've weathered the storm. Sometimes, it's not worth freaking out over the little, embarrassing things that happen. We're human, and life happens, even to the best of us.